This video is for St. Matthew Parish, Oak Creek, Wisconsin, Parish History Project. The date is Monday, June 6th. Today's interviewees are Mike and Ruth Kuick. The interviewer is Mary Komorowski. So thanks for agreeing to do this.
You're welcome.
So tell me a little bit about your family background. Where did your family come from? Where were you baptized? Where did you go to school?
Well, I was born in Jamestown, New York. So my father is from Morgantown, West Virginia. My mother was from Jamestown. Was baptized there in Jamestown. Schooling that, because my dad worked for both Coke and Pepsi, we traveled a lot, anywhere from New York down to Georgia on the East Coast. So many, many different schools, but they were all Catholic. Grade school, high school, until my senior year, when we moved to Racine, and at that time St. Catherine's was in double shifts, so I went to a public school in my senior year. So
What does double shifts mean?
Morning, they had two shifts. One group went in the morning and one group went in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So, and same thing with the grade schools. None of my brothers and sisters went to Catholic grade school after we moved to Racine. They just weren't able to get into the school system.
I was born in Flint, Michigan. We moved to Wisconsin. I'm trying to think, 47, I think it was. Ended up going down to Kenosha. My dad got transferred from Milwaukee to Kenosha. That's where I grew up. I went to St. Mary's School, grade school and high school. Most of my family on my mother's side is from Door County and Kewaunee County. So that's pretty much it. We came up here in 73.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got transferred from downtown Racine to downtown Milwaukee in 73. So we moved here in January of 73, and we didn't join St. Matthew's because you're going to cover this. We didn't join it right away because we had come from St. Rita's in Racine. Mm-hmm. St. Rita's was an Augustinian back parish, and the Augustinian, they were German Augustinians, so it was kind of old-fashioned. Just before we left, the French province came in, took over, and opened the doors. We had guitar masses, we had this, and we came up here, and there was a communion rail. It was just, I actually had to bribe the kids to get them to go to. I said, "You're going to go to school here. We got to go to church here." So I had to take them down to St. Rita's once a month for Sunday to get their batteries charged. So
they like the guitar mass, is that?
Yeah.
It was just a complete different. They had nuns in there. I can't remember the order, but they were so friendly. After mass, they greeted everybody. And the little kids, they started Sunday school for them. And it was just it was such a cultural shock to come to St. Matt's. But there's going to be some other questions.
Okay, so what brought you to St. Matt's then?
I had to get a site where I could take a bus to work. We only had one car at the time, so there's a bus stop right up the road here. So that, and then we wanted to stay at St. Rita's, by St. Rita's, because Steve was in grade school? Kindergarten. So we wanted to stay in, and her folks live down in Racine too. So we want to stay on the south side of Milwaukee, south side here.
So then why did you join St. Matt's?
Because school.
Because of the school.
Steve was going to start school the next year, so then we went over there.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, actually, we started when he was in kindergarten. We started St. Matthew's.
No, I thought you were taking him down.
No, he went to Carrollton for kindergarten.
Okay. Well, we still had to go back down there because it was
the mass.
Yeah. So we got up here, and that's when Father Beitzinger was in charge because Father Barris was ill.
Yeah.
And we went for a couple of years, and then Father Barris died, and Father Don Surgis came in. and it was just like again a cultural change. He opened the doors. He was the one that always wore a turtleneck. He never wore a collar, and he'd golf. We played cards, get together, play cards. Everything just kind of changed and relaxed. They took the altar or the communion railing down. We started a New Age choir, as opposed to the praise to that one. We got a New Age choir in there, and everything was upbeat. So
What year, do you know about what year that was?
he came in 9 years before '86, so it would have been. He died in '86, and 9 years before he came here, so it would have been what, 70?
77.
Yeah, 77.
That's still quite a ways after Vatican II.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the masses were in English,
Mm-hmm.
and we had the dispensation for meat. You could have meat on Fridays and stuff like that, but the implementation of it, you only went to a certain extent. I mean, it's opposed to today. You look back right after Vatican II, when that came in, it would still be just immense the change that you would see.
Okay, so earliest memory or most fondest memory? Maybe we go with fondest.
At St. Matt's?
There's a couple things came to mind, but when we had Father Bill and Father Steve here, Ruth's mother died in December. We were at her funeral when my mother died. We came back, and my mother had been at Lady of Lourdes, but then eventually she ended up in a nursing home. So I had no idea what parish you could go to, because in those days, you had to be a member of parish to get buried out of there. Again, that's another change. Mm-hmm. And I went over to St. Matt's, and Father Steve was there, and I asked him, "What do I do?" And he said, "What do you mean, what do you do? This is your parish."
Yeah.
It's just like immediate relief. And then as a side note, because of my brother, we had 3 bishops and 2 priests on the altar for the funeral.
Wow.
So, some of you can ask about memorable events. Oh, God.
Memorable, yeah, sacraments, social events, etc.
I think one of the how would I want to say this? The best memories that I have of, like, when the kids were in school, and there was always a student against faculty basketball games or volleyball games.
Oh, yeah.
And that just seemed to bring everybody together and out. It was always a good, fun time. It just, no matter what your differences were, if you, with a teacher or something, those get-togethers and stuff seemed to really bring everybody together. That was always a fun thing. And the nuns, the kids would be so surprised because the nuns would come like with culottes on or something if they're playing volleyball or basketball with them. And they used to come when they still lived over in the south wing there. They used to come and ice skate up here in the park with the kids. Yeah. Yeah. Because there used to be they would have an ice ring up here in Aachen in the wintertime. And the nuns would come and the kids would come and they'd ice skate with them and stuff. And I think those were, they remember that.
I used to referee the basketball, so the husbands of the teachers, if they were female, would play the 8th grade in basketball, and those kids really tried. But the one I really remember is volleyball. Sister Francis hit the ball, hit the top of the gymnasium at Carrollton and broke a light bulb.
Oh.
And the kids were like, "Whoa, they ain't gonna mess with that nut." Those were good times. Yeah. And we had well the garden parties and we had a New Year's Eve. We had a couple of New Year's Eve dances there
that
too.
we put on.
Who put those on?
Home and School did.
Homeschool.
Home and
Okay.
School, and they did an appreciation dinner at the end of the school year that anybody in the parish could come to, but it was an appreciation for the teachers. The nuns and stuff were all recognized, and that was always a fun thing too.
So these things you're mentioning are all school related.
Those
things.
are right, yeah.
So, back in those days, was the school and the parish tightly involved, connected?
No.
No. Okay.
Not really. It was kind of like we would. In fact, I was just going through those records. We would come up short on our budget, and we kind of make overtures to the home and school, and they said it's our money, we raised it. Never mind that the parish had to fork over another 20,000. So there was just so we ended up Father Sukup along with Barbara Schrader, and I think I was on council at the time. We took the checkbook away. We said you can't use a checkbook that has St. Matthew's on it. We will write checks, and that kind of started the things rolling here. But yeah, they would put people on. They would ask people to run for finance, and I remember one of them saying the reason we're on the finance committee is we want to make sure our teachers get a raise. And I looked at them and I said, we want to make all employees get a raise. Oh yeah, that too. So there was quite it, and it's over the years it's slowly changed. I think we started to unify. I think Joe started it. Father Bill did a lot towards it, and then Father Pat has really kind of put it all together. So the school when towards I'm trying to think about 20 years ago, they had like 230 students in there. When we would go to mass, a school mass, they would fill all 4 sections of that. Not completely, but because when they did the Our Father, they spread across the aisles and held hands, and it was kind of like amazing. So it's nice to see it back up there now. But I think COVID had a lot to do with this last stuff.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. I thought of something too when you asked if there was a special memory of a sacrament, and I think it probably
RCA?
no, sacrament was Matthew's baptism. He was the first kid at St. Matthew's that was baptized during Mass.
Oh, okay.
And it was Father Don and
Was it Jordan?
Father Jordan.
Yeah, I made the mistake of saying, we were talking about baptism. I said, how come we got to wait till everybody's gone to do it? And church is empty and all that. And he said, oh, we got our first volunteer.
So, yeah. So Matthew was the first one that was baptized during Mass.
The other thing I remember is renewal. I think that was in the 80s. We get together, you just signed up and they kind of randomly put couples together, and we'd meet at their house, rotate it, and go through do a scripture reading, and then discuss it. Yeah. And we're still friends. There's a group of us that all got involved, and we still get together, go out and stuff like that. So
That's cool.
renew.
I remember doing that as well. I think we were at the Piper's house is what I remember. Jim and Sue Piper.
Yeah, so that was like in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would have probably been late 80s.
Could have been, yeah.
So, it could have been mid 80s.
Yeah.
I want to back up for a minute. You've been talking about the school. Talk about your children. How many do you have? Do they all go to St. Matt's? Sacraments? I know you talked about Matthew a little bit, but...
We had 4.
Well, there's 4. Steve, Nancy, Sarah, and Matthew. They all went to St. Matthew's. Actually, Matthew was the only one baptized at St. Matt's. The other 3 were baptized at St. Rita's. Let's see, we have 11 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild, and don't know what else you want.
Other sacraments aside from baptism, did they take,
Well,
take those at St.
they
Matthew's?
all made their first communion, confirmation. A couple of them were married. Well, the boys weren't because of the girls' parish. And actually, Nancy at that time was living out in Pewaukee, and they were married at the parish where they had joined. Nancy and Mike did. That was St. Bruno's in Bellsman. But Sarah was married at St. Matthew's. So
The kids would come home and they'd talk about school when we're eating dinner here. We used to eat at a table at the family. And I never knew Mr. Kane's first name because it was always Mr. Kane did this, Mr. Kane did that. And all 4 kids had John Kane. And then I joined the Old Timers Baseball League and John joined. And I found out his name was John because you didn't dare. I mean, it was just automatic. Oh, there's Mr. King over there. Yeah. And so I didn't find out his name until we played baseball together. But yeah, he was an institution. And the kids still talk about that Jeopardy.
Jeopardy.
Yeah. And I think it was in the bulletin day. He still does it.
I think that's true. So aside from school involvement, how has your family been involved in the parish, and how has it changed over time?
Well, because of the home and school, they asked me to run for council. So I went on council in '82, and I stayed there till, well, I was chairperson when Father Don died. Ruth and Donna May were the ones that went in the rectory, and when he didn't show up for mass.
I didn't go upstairs. She did.
And he died doing his tax work. He had his tax papers on his stomach and he was laying in bed. But I got involved in, when I went off of council, Don Milkey grabbed me and he said, we need somebody in finance. So I've been on finance, and then I went from finance to, well, I've been a trustee for 25 years now. So your involvement, home and school,
Well,
for
home
sure.
and school, I was secretary, and when St. Matthew's had bingo, I did bingo